Okay.
Military conflicts are brewing the world right now, and what do you think governments should do to prevent global war?
The issue starts with education because education helps people to be rational. Because if you do a research of where most of the wars started and how they even started, you can also find out that there was even a lack of education in the people involved. So education is one of the greatest investments that the governments must proffer to the people. Because with education, even from the early ages, from high school ages to the university levels, the people would prioritize diplomacy and peaceful resolution to conflict. Because with that level of thinking, uh, at least people can make sound and wise decisions. So this will help people to have open dialogue. Because once you are educated, once you have an educated mind, you will know that you can have differences with someone, but you can solve those differences amicably without shedding any blood. So there comes the issue of dialogue, negotiations, and mediation to address the root causes of the tension. So that's the other thing. The tensions must not be rubbed off. They have to be addressed from their root causes. So that's where we come through with international organizations like the United Nations playing a crucial role in facilitating these discussions and promoting cooperation among nations. The United Nations must be fair in its approach. It must not leave some disputes because I've heard of a certain scenario whereby they were saying we are so overwhelmed to an extent that we are dealing with the hottest issues while they are neglecting others. So it's also important for them to address some of the issues, particularly in war zone areas in the Darfur region and in the uh, Middle East and in some parts of Africa. So additionally, there have to be investment in education, cultural exchange programs, and promoting understanding between different nations. It can help to foster peace and prevent misunderstanding that may lead to conflict. So, as I'll be closing down my point, I'd rather say education is quite important from the early ages so that people can know how to solve issues amicably. They have to know that we might be from different races, we might be from different ethnicities, we might be from different cultural beliefs, religion, or creed. But at the end of the day, we are all humans, and we must have to find a common ground. So I hope you are quite answered on this.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
Um, what do you think can be done to help people of Palestine and how this conflict can be solved?
Okay, the conflict in Palestine is complex and it's deeply rooted. It's quite like it's a hot potato. It's quite a complex issue. It's because people are think that it's a 90s issue, it's a 20th century issue, it's a 21st century issue. But this is an issue which dates back even to the biblical times. It's older than the word old itself, you know. So to help the people of Palestine, like I said, we are all humans. It is important for all parties involved to engage in meaningful dialogue with a genuine commitment to finding a just and lasting solution. Uh, so if we have a problem that we are having, we just don't have to deal with it from the top. We deal with the causes because I'm a history teacher. Whenever I will teach about, let's say when I'm teaching about the First World War, before I talk about the World War itself, the cause of the war, what is important is to address the causes of that war. That's what is supposed to be looked at. Let me try to give a specific example. Like one of the major causes of the First World War was the alliance system. The alliance system divided Europe into two hostile camps. In Europe, they ended up having two conflicting groups. There were the Triple Alliance and the Triple Entente, which metamorphosed into the Central Powers and the Allied Powers. But when they came up with the Paris Peace Settlement in around 1918, 1919, after the World War, the first point that was raised by the American leader, called Woodrow, also first then, was that we must end secret diplomacy. In other words, he was trying to say we must go against one of the major causes of the war, which was the alliance system that countries met secretly and agreed secretly, and some of the agreements were against other countries, and which led to fear and suspicion and subsequently led to war. So, as we are addressing the Palestinian issue, let us look at the causes of the Palestinian issue. There's the issue of the land right, there's the issue of the settlement, there's security concerns, and the right to self-determination for both Israelis and Palestinians. So those are the root causes that are supposed to be addressed. Because the problem that we are having here is like people trying to solve the issue from the top. Let us address the root causes. You get the sense? So international support for peace building initiatives, economic development projects, and also humanitarian aid, because it's quite an emergency, can also contribute to improving the lives of people affected by the conflict thereof. I hope you are also answered.
In the time of technological breakthrough of technologies, mankind can achieve harmony and prosperity all over the world. In your opinion, how can we solve the issues of hunger in Africa and economic instability in the entire world?
Okay. Africa is an agrarian continent. Africa is an agrarian continent. I hope you understand what I'm saying when I'm referring to agriculture being an agrarian continent. Africa is the best climate. Africa is an agricultural based continent. So only having some changes or some drastic changes in agriculture can help us to achieve or to garner food security. Because what we have in agriculture is the land. What we have in Africa, sorry, is the land. What we have in agriculture relevantly are the natural resources. But what we don't have is the know-how to benefit from that land, and that has been a problem. So with the technology that we have now, it's now a matter of cooperation, working together as a team, working like the body parts as well, helping each other. Guys, we have the land, we have the best climate. Help us with your agricultural technology from China. Help us with the agricultural know-how from Switzerland. Help us with the agricultural knowledge from any parts of Europe, from America. So that combination will also help in what? In achieving a lasting solution in as much as the food scarcity problem is concerned. So we have to address the hunger issues. So there must be investment in agriculture, agricultural development, combining our old farming skills with the new ones, access to clean water as well, improved infrastructure for transportation and storage of food, as well as empowering local communities through education and training on modern farming equipments. That's the other thing that we're supposed to do, having that in place. I hope agriculturally this one is quite answered.
What is your message to the world? Maybe you can, what you would like to wish for all mankind?
You know, what I'm saying here might sound like a cliche, or I would rather say it sounds rather monotonous to say this, because a perfect world is sort of a new utopia. We call it an utopia in sociology or history. It can never be achieved. It can never be achieved. Why? Because the world itself is capitalistic. There are people who benefit from the suffering of people. Like, for example, here we are having people killing each other in Ukraine, killing each other in Palestine, yes. But you find out that there are people who manufacture weapons who will be benefiting from that conflict. The world is capitalistic. There are people who benefit from the crime or from the blood of people. So what I would rather say here is sort of a utopia which can be achieved maybe in 10 years or 20 years to come. I would rather say I would wish of a world which helps us to strive on unity rather than division. And we have to embrace each other's empathy over indifference. Even if we are different, I have to understand that my fellow person is a Muslim, I'm a Christian. But at the end of the day, it boils down or it zeroes down to the fact that we are all human beings. So we have to work together with compassion and understanding towards common goals, so as to foster things like peace, justice, equality, sustainable development, so we can create a better future for all mankind. Thank you.